Welcome to Wine and Real Estate, the podcast where we drink wine, we have fun, and we learn about real estate investing. Real estate investing is so much more than just buying buildings. It's about building relationships, building your dreams, building your dream lifestyle, customizing your life. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? It's much more than money. It's more than getting rich. It's a different type of wealth. It's the wealth of time, the wealth of freedom. And now let's get to the wine and the real estate. Let's start this episode with some financing tips from our go-to mortgage broker, Streetwise Mortgages. Over to you, Dalia.
Hi, I'm Dalia, founder of Streetwise Mortgages, and on today's episode, I would like to share with you an update regarding mortgage qualification and what you can do about it as an investor. As you know, the mortgage qualification stress test was introduced in 2018, where federally regulated financial institutions such as banks and alternative lenders started to look at mortgage approvals differently as they started to use a higher mortgage payment to approve your loan compared to what your actual payment would be based on the rate you are being approved for. If you recall, they started to calculate payments based on the higher of two numbers, the Bank of Canada rate at 5.25 and the rate you are being approved for plus a 2%. To give you an example, if the interest rate at the time of a refinance or a purchase was 2%, then they would have assumed in the approval process that your rate is 5.25, which is the Bank of Canada rate, as the 5.25 is higher than a 4%, which is the 2% rate you're being approved for plus the 2% they added. As you know, the fixed rates and variable rates have been rising over the past few months. And for the first time now, if you are applying for a variable rate or a fixed rate, the lenders will qualify the application at a higher benchmark above the Bank of Canada's rate of 5.25. Because if you take the rate you're being approved for and add a 2% to that, this bar is now higher than the 5.25. So what does this mean to you as an investor, and what do you need to do differently? A higher qualification bar may translate into less equity takeout, less mortgage on a purchase, or a complete decline with an existing lender because the lending ratios are being compressed, meaning your lending ratios are above the lender's guidelines. A higher qualification bar can also push your qualification from a current lender to another more expensive lender where you have to inject a higher down payment, take out less money, or pay a higher interest and in some cases, higher fees. I would like to remind you as an investor that you have options and strategies to navigate these changing guidelines so you can continue to grow and achieve your goals. These strategies fall into two categories: debt management strategies and income management strategies. Starting with debt management strategies, these are strategies that focus primarily on reducing the monthly payments on your balance sheet in the eyes of the lenders to help ease up the pressure on the lending ratios. The fact that you are paying an interest-only payment on a loan, or that you have an interest-free loan with 6 months grace period, let's say, does not mean that the lender will take that into consideration. Lenders have their own ways of running the numbers. As a result, reshuffling some debts around through consolidation or reamortization can have a huge positive impact on the numbers. To give you an example, let's say you have a $20,000 balance on a Home Depot card that you've used to renovate a property and that you are currently not paying anything on that credit card because you took a 3 months no pay promotion. In the eyes of the lenders, and in some cases it's not all lenders, but most lenders, that this card is costing you about 3% per month. That is $600 per month. Another example is a car loan or an RSP loan or a loan to invest, where your monthly payment is high and you have a small balance left on that loan. The lender doesn't care about the small balance, they care about your monthly obligation. Debt management strategies can help you declutter your balance sheet and open up room with the lenders to maintain your borrowing power. The other tool is income related, where we can look at ways to add more income to your application through the utilization of higher rental income or supplementing your own personal income with additional income. This includes using higher rents on your application through appraisers' opinions of market rents. This can help the numbers in some cases where you have a vacant unit, or if you're charging below market rents and if you were to put the property up for rent would be higher. In regards to your personal income, we can look at ways to pay yourself more from one or more of your businesses if you are an entrepreneur, or add a guarantor to the deal, or partner with someone who can come to the deal with additional income to help the application. If you are concerned about the impacts of tighter mortgage qualification on your plans, myself and my team at Streetwise Mortgages will help you strategize and explore the best tools to help you stay ahead and maintain momentum. Email us at info@streetwisemortgages.com to book your complimentary planning session. Cheers to your success.
Hello, everyone. So today I'm really excited. I have a great guest, Lucy Parker from Dubai. So joining us from quite far, and I think at a kind of weird time, like at the time of this recording, it's 12 p.m. in Ontario, where I am. Lucy, what time is it in Dubai?
It is 8 p.m. in the evening here. So,
Well,
yep, end of the
not
day.
too bad. Not too bad then. Okay, I was expecting something in the middle of the night or the next day. Who knows?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
welcome, Lucy. Could you tell us about yourself? Because you have quite an interesting story. For those listening, Lucy and I have known each other not that long, but I heard your story. You lived I think, in France a little bit. You're from the UK with your lovely
Yeah.
accent. And now you're in Dubai. Like what happened in Costa Rica, I think, at some point as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, bonsoir to all of you. Do we say francophone? Je parle
Yes.
français.
Oui.
So, and good evening to everybody. Good morning, wherever you are listening and watching this. So, thank you so much for inviting me on, Francois. So, I've been in real estate for 17 years. Believe it or not, although I'm English, I have never done real estate in my own country. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I've sold real estate in France, in Oman, which is here in the Gulf next door, and now here in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. So that is the last 17 years of selling residential real estate. But before that, I was an international tour guide. So
okay, I get it now.
yeah, I don't think you knew that. So I used to take people on adventure holidays all over the world. So I've traveled to over 75 countries.
Wow.
I've lived on 4 continents. So you were right. I was brought up in the South Pacific, Francois, in Vanuatu and then Fiji. Had my schooling years in England, in Surrey. I'm from South England. Went to boarding school. My parents lived in Denmark, so didn't live there, used to go on holidays. Have lived in France. I did my degree in French and Spanish and economics. So I've lived in the south of France, so Saint-Raphaël, in southwest of France, Languedoc-Roussillon in Perpignan, and in the Alps in Megève near Geneva. And then I also lived in Central America. So I've lived in the Caribbean island of Roatan, where I learned to scuba dive. I was a voluntary school teacher. And I also was living in Costa Rica, traveling the country, looking after volunteers on all the national park conservation projects. So yes, that's me summing up my life very briefly.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now it makes a lot more sense now. Okay, so Dubai for a very well-traveled woman like yourself makes sense because I think it's a very cosmopolitan city.
Yeah.
You did a presentation a little while back, and we will do it for the group as well. Those attending some of my events will have to have it again. But can you share some reasons to why you picked Dubai? Because you've been in 75 countries. I mean, that's a lot of choice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, exactly, Francois. And, that is why it's important that I introduce the fact that I have traveled so extensively.
Yeah.
Because, for somebody like myself, I could really live anywhere in the world. I'm very comfortable traveling, moving countries. So why have I chosen the United Arab Emirates and in particular Dubai? Well, first and foremost, it is tax-free. So I'm one of these.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, come on, everybody, if you're going to go out to work and do the same job as me, why would you take home less money than me just simply because you chose to pay tax and I didn't? I mean, it's a no-brainer. So, people out here, you have incredible opportunities where you are working in what you love, whether you're a lawyer, a doctor, a banker, in real estate, an entrepreneur in the tech world, but you're taking home every dirham you earn, Francois, which
Wow.
is, why wouldn't you do that? Why work for the government when you can work for yourself? So funnily enough, I haven't paid tax for 17 years because I've lived in the Gulf 17 years of my life. So it doesn't feel normal anymore. I work hard and I have my own ideas as to what we should do with that money. And a lot of it is to help others as well. So that's the first reason. Okay. And I think, your viewers and listeners will agree that's pretty high up there on why Dubai. Now, the second I think is just as important is safety,
Yeah,
because
that's a big one.
we don't have any crime, Francois. We really don't. We have no homeless. We have, zero drugs policy, but there really is no drugs here. Really are no drugs here. We have, I'm a woman walking around at night in the parks, jogging. I never, ever have to look over my shoulder. Imagine.
Wow.
Never. I feel safe. And, my car is unlocked. It never gets tampered
Oh my
with.
goodness.
I've actually had people that are in the car and then we park and there's a few bags showing and they're like, Lucy, do you not want to hide those bags or hide those sunglasses?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's fine.
Wow. Okay, and I live in a nice suburb in Ottawa, the capital of Canada. And you'd think it's safe, but yeah, you can't leave doors unlocked and
Yeah.
no. Well, things would be gone.
Well, no, that's it. And the other thing, I shared it on my Facebook this week. Did you see my post about someone in the basement where I live here? They have their golf clubs just left there and their surfboard, and they never get tampered with. They never get stolen. They're just there.
Wow.
Imagine
So
leaving
very
your golf clubs.
respectful. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can't leave a bike here or
Yeah.
anything longer than 2 minutes. It's gone.
Yeah. Same in England, by the way, same anywhere in the world, but not here in Dubai. So if you imagine that, you have this safe environment, it's safe for your children. They can go out on their bikes. They're going to come home. They're in the parks. It's just a really pleasant place to choose to live. And choose is the key word here. We all live one life. Why do we not choose where we live? Why do we assume that where we're born, we have to live and settle?
I know. And that's a big thing. I'm 42 now, and I never thought I'd think about moving away from Canada.
Right.
Especially in Canada, we're really kind of, I feel a bit brainwashed that it's the best place in the world, never leave. And now I'm like, well, actually, maybe I wouldn't mind leaving.
Yeah. Well, at least you've seen through a little bit of that brainwash. And, that brings me on to another topic, which is obviously, forefront in our minds with what's just happened over the last couple of years is this, COVID pandemic. Now, whatever you believe or don't believe, the fact is that the world shut down. So when it shut down, how did people feel? And, we all got on with it, right? We all got on with our lives, probably from our laptops and our social media and our telephones. So if you know that you can get on with it, then why would you still be living in a country where, maybe there are things that you're not in agreement with? And why would you not explore other opportunities and other jurisdictions and other countries to have a different lifestyle? Because you can still work from your laptop, right?
Totally. And the aftermath of COVID and inflation, is Dubai seeing massive inflation? I don't think so, but you could tell us more.
We are a bit with the funny enough, the petrol prices have gone up here, but to be honest, we've had very, 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 very cheap petrol, so we shouldn't really complain. It's still cheap.
It can only go up.
Yeah, it can only go up, but it's actually we've just been told it's coming down this month, so that's good. But no, we've definitely seen inflation in the shops in terms of food, but that's the world, because we're in a different era now, aren't we, where there's supposedly a shortage of grain, etc., with everything that's going on with Russia and Ukraine. So that's a little bit more localized for this specific should we say event that's happening right now. But with that, that's also created a new movement of people, Francois. So we have
Yeah, I can imagine.
we have a lot of Russians coming here. We already have a lot of Russian population here. We have a lot of Ukrainians moving here, living here. So that has really, pushed up the demand for houses, for real estate, whether people are coming to rent or they're coming to purchase. So, that's definitely had a knock-on effect here. And if I may just quickly go back to the COVID situation, something I'm very proud of here in Dubai is that we had the shortest lockdown in history, 6 weeks.
Wow.
And you had did you have 2 years in Canada?
No, but way more than 6 weeks. Like 2 years
Okay.
off and on, and
Right.
lockdown after lockdown. It was almost like a joke,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But yeah.
Well, and there you have it, you see. So we were able to move freely, in and around. We had 6 weeks where it was strict lockdown. They even sprayed the streets here, which was, it felt really efficient and clean. Now, we still do have a mask policy in shopping malls and the airport. But, outside in the streets, we have zero, we don't need to wear masks. So, and I think what's happened is that's comforted those that require, that they want to wear masks. They feel more comfortable. But equally, you can still come and live here, even if you don't have the COVID vaccine. So you can live here with the vaccine or without the vaccine.
It's kind of a happy medium, which is
a happy medium, which is important.
Sorely lacking here. It's like all or not. Like right now, at the time of this recording, I'm sure this will change in the fall, but right now there's no more masks anywhere except for airports.
Okay.
Airports, trains, and some buses or some not even hospitals, I don't think.
Right.
So we went from extreme curfews, all kinds of things, to nothing, and who knows what's next. So this is nice to hear. It does kind of satisfy both groups.
Right.
Whether you're for vaccination and masking and all that or not, you can
absolutely
kind of live sort of happily together, which is great.
And Francois, I have had clients that and that's why I bring it up on this this interview here, because I have had clients that have asked me, Lucy, can we live there and move there as a family if we don't have the vaccine? So people are asking me those questions. It may be the elephant in the room and people are not talking about it. It's not in the newspapers. Well, we're in a different part of the world here. So you may not always see everything talked about, but the fact is you can live here and you can work here, and you don't have to be vaccinated. So I think that's important. People know that as well.
Very cool. And now I'm trying to envision, because I have visions of Dubai. It's all skyscrapers. How does a family live in that kind of glass jungle? Like it just feels like maybe downtown Toronto, well, way bigger than downtown Toronto, but it's all glass skyscrapers. Are there like houses, or how do families integrate?
Oh gosh, absolutely. We have beautiful villa communities, Francois. So you're right. When we think of Dubai, we do think of the world's tallest tower, because that's where it's at. We think of Dubai Marina. We think of, I think on my presentation, I showed you a picture before and after with, 300 skyscrapers. So all the skyscrapers, they're the beginning of Dubai. That's what made, Dubai famous, put us on the map. But then if you think about it, the Palm Jumeirah is the world's, largest man-made island, can be seen from space. And on the palm, dominantly, the palm tree itself, the shape of the fronds, that's all villas. They're all ground plus first floor on the beachfront. So, those aren't skyscrapers. And then if you come back away from the ocean, we have an enormous selection of villa communities where, we're even building now our own man-made lagoons that look, they parallel Maldives in terms of color. Stunning. We have white sands. So these are all new communities that are still being built. But you're right, it doesn't probably get shown enough. I can definitely direct people to my YouTube channel, and you will see videos on there of these communities that, there's no skyscrapers there. So you're right, that's what we think about, but there's a lot more than just the apartments, Francois.
Yeah, because the skyscrapers are wonderful, but that's more. Well, anyway, maybe that's my opinion, but maybe young professionals or people that don't have children I remember, my kids are old now, but I remember when they were in strollers, like getting into elevators, and oh my goodness, forget that. So we need a
Yeah.
house. It's nice to hear that there is that
Oh,
option.
we have a lot. Yeah, we do have a
And
lot. And just actually one thing that I always forget to mention, because we take it for granted here, but you wouldn't, that every single building in Dubai has its own private swimming pool and its own private gym. Every building. So
wow.
again, for anyone watching and listening, and you were looking to rent in a building and you're like, oh, does it have a pool or a gym? Yes, they all do. I remember the first time when I was looking, going, oh, that's a really special tower. It has a pool and a gym. Then I realized they all
They
do.
all do. Very cool. And kind of what sort of price point are we talking about? Because I'm sure a villa is a lot more than a condo in a
Yeah,
skyscraper, or
yeah.
like can you give us an idea of scale in US funds, or I think that'd be
Yeah,
the
sure.
easiest number for us.
So let me first of all define, so that, because we've got different languages and understandings of
Yeah.
terminology, right? So look, I consider there's a townhouse and there's a villa. So a
Okay.
townhouse is, ground plus first, maybe second floor. And it sometimes has a lift and it sometimes doesn't. And that is connected on either side to another house. So townhouse, because obviously in the town you're short of
Like a
space. So
row, kind of in
yeah, like
Canada,
a row.
USA, we have that. Okay.
Right. So that's townhouses. By the way, a lot of real estate agents very naughtily will call those villas because it looks cheaper if they're telling you there's a villa really
Oh
cheap, and
yeah,
you actually get there and it's not a villa. So
the
I'm
townhouse.
very specific. If it's a townhouse, it's a townhouse. If it's a villa, that means you can walk all the way around the four walls. It's your own
Detached.
land. You can get to the back of the garden without going through the house. Okay. So just so that people understand the
Sure.
difference. So a townhouse is the most in-demand property right now, Francois. You can imagine after the COVID lockdown, families want more space. They want an outside area, even if it's very small for their children. So townhouses, you're looking average price of about, I'm going to have to do, and we're doing it into Canadian dollars, right?
Or American is
Oh, in
fine. Or
American. Okay. So just bear with me, folks.
just
Sorry.
dirhams, unfortunately, I never, except
Yeah.
for you, I never heard of that currency. I'm
I
sorry.
know. Don't worry. So, folks, I'm just doing it on my phone as I speak to you. Okay. So your average townhouse is about 1.9 million dirham. That's a 3-bedroom, 2,100 square foot. That's ground plus one. And that is 515,000 US dollars.
So quite affordable, because in
Yeah.
Ottawa, where I live, a townhouse like that, you'd be more around, well, Canadian dollars, 700, 800,000. If you're in
Yeah.
Toronto, you'd be well over $1 million. So,
Oh, wow.
wow.
Okay. Yeah. So that's townhouse. So of course they're really in demand because they are affordable living. Now,
Yeah.
you wanted a villa, which is independent, and we're looking at, easily 5-bedroom, then you're looking around the 6.5 million dirham, which is approximately 1.7 million US dollars.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's getting a bit more pricey, but it's like a Toronto house
Yeah.
for a lot
Now
of people.
that will probably have a swimming pool, and if it doesn't, it's definitely got obviously a nice garden. And for built up area, the internal area, and it's funny because you would say carpet area, but of course in the hot Gulf we call it the AC area, air conditioning area. I know. So you're looking at built up of around 4,000 square foot. No, sorry, probably 4,500 square foot. This would be 1.7 million US dollars.
Okay, so it's a big house for that price.
Yeah.
That's wow. Okay, very
Well,
good.
now, and actually, while we're on that subject, I love that you just said that, Francois. So big is because that's what we're all about in the Gulf. And the other thing is, when I say we have a 5-bedroom property, they are all ensuite bedrooms.
Oh my goodness.
Because,
So very
yes,
luxurious then.
well, but it's not luxurious. It's the norm because of the culture. So in the Middle East, in Islam, it's all about being very clean and washing yourself before prayer. And in the olden days, the women wanted to be separate from the men. It's not like that so much anymore. So everybody needed their own bathroom, right,
Oh
to keep
yes,
that
okay.
privacy. So that's why every bedroom does have its ensuite. So, we come along and we think, as you said, gosh, that's so luxury. I mean, growing up in England, we shared 2 bathrooms between a family of 5.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
so yeah. And the other thing as well is that generally properties are more spacious here. just because we've never had a shortage of land in this part of the world, so it was desert and it's still desert. So when we build, generally we build big properties.
And you can build kind of to infinity. It's fairly flat.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah.
dealing with these crazy
No,
terrains, and you
no.
don't need basements because you don't have frost issues. So,
Well, we do need basements, Francois,
oh
because
yes.
we have a lot of luxury cars here. We are
Oh,
Dubai,
okay, to stash the cars, but very
of
different
course.
reason. Here it's because the house would kind of float during winter and then come crashing down in the spring.
Yeah,
So you need
yeah,
to
yeah,
anchor it.
yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
wow,
So yeah,
and then
that's generally, and then like apartments. I mean, honestly, there are so many types of apartments, but generally, like anywhere in the world, if an apartment has a waterfront location on the beach or golf course or downtown, then
price goes up.
you're going to be paying a 25 to 30% premium, just simply because of that view and the location. And the most in demand is beach. And
Yeah,
we are lacking beachfront properties. So, if you're coming to me and you're saying, Lucy, I want a 2-bedroom, I want it on the beach, of course, it's going to be double the price if you want an apartment back in the desert next to the villa communities. So, people get quite surprised some of the prices. They're not cheap on the beach, but they're beautiful. And, Francois, for our investors, you're obviously mostly putting them on short term. So you've got to be attractive to
yeah.
the short-term visitor. They don't want to be in the back and beyond of nowhere.
No.
So,
Yeah, if you live there, maybe you don't mind the commute. I don't know. I'm not sure how you get to the beach. If it's
we drive,
and
we would drive,
you
yeah.
drive, okay.
We drive. But I mean, look, the world has changed. We're, me included, I sell real estate here and I'm on my laptop most of the day, apart from when I'm viewing properties with clients or when I'm meeting a client, say, for a coffee and we're going through different properties, etc. together. So I don't need to live by the sea.
No, that's it.
You don't need to live by an office because I don't sit in an office. So, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers would perhaps be in the same place now for that. I have a lot of remote workers and digital nomad clients, a lot now.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm sure the internet with all this brand new infrastructure must be quite good in Canada. My house is from 1986, so we're dealing with much older infrastructure from the 80s, 90s. You
Yeah.
have brand new stuff, like they're finally laying some new fiber optics in the next few weeks.
Okay.
They're going to be digging my front lawn.
Oh, wow.
Big, very dramatic. They're going to put some new wires, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's already all there in Dubai. So that's great.
It
So
is.
what are the opportunities? You mentioned short-term rentals.
Yes.
Is a strategy here we do a lot, especially you guys don't have taxes, which sounds very great. If you buy a unit and then resell it once it's finally built, is there like an increase in value? Because that's a big strategy here.
Absolutely. So, it's quite interesting. So one thing I think everybody needs to understand first and foremost is that we are only 20 years old.
I know, it's crazy.
20. I mean, that's nothing, right? So, 20 years ago, pretty much we weren't quite sand and sand dunes, but you get the point. There was no real estate for sale to us foreigners, and a foreigner is someone that is not a local. So I'm a foreigner, you're a foreigner. Okay. So, if I was here 20 years ago, I would not have been able to purchase a property. Now the property is all freehold. So you own it outright. But, in terms of opportunities, what we find is the banks don't really finance much here, unfortunately. And I've had that exact conversation this morning with one of my US clients. They will not very easily finance you if you are a non-resident. So you pretty much have to have all the money. So what happens here in Dubai is because we're a young industry and we're pretty new, most of my clients are from overseas and they will buy a property that's not ready yet. We call it off plan, off the floor plan, or you guys would say under construction. So off plan property. Yeah. And off plan is really attractive because you're not putting all the money in. So you perhaps, you'd have a payment plan and the property's ready in 3 years. So I'd say, look, Francois, your payment plan is 60-40. Now, 60-40, what that means is that you've got to pay 60% between now and handover in 3 years. Okay. And there'll be a plan as to how, that's all linked to construction. And then at handover, you would pay the 40%. Okay. At handover, you could potentially get financing from a bank, even as a non-resident, for that 40%. But, there's a lot of documentation to be done. Now, the other thing is that there may be payment plans, and there's less and less now,
Yeah.
which we call post handover. And of course, those go in seconds, where then, Francois, you'd have paid 60%, you get your key. And now I say to you, you've got 3 years post handover to pay the remaining 40%. Of course,
Wow.
those get like taken up in seconds. And really, our real estate does sell in minutes. It is insane here. I've been at launches where I've, said to my clients the day before, Francois, tomorrow it's going to be crazy. I need a copy of your credit card. I need a copy of your passport. I need you to look at floor plans today. I don't know the prices yet. I know it's approximately going to be this size. Do you want a sea view? Do you want a high floor or low floor? How much are you willing to go to? And then you would say, right, Lucy, I'll spend up to 2 million. I want that floor, nothing higher. I like this floor plan. Whatever you get it to me. And then just literally put my passport copy down. And it's like that.
Wow.
It's crazy. So we sold a whole project over 400 units in under 30 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Going because, Francois, we are not selling to a country. We are selling to the world.
Yeah, the whole world, like anywhere. Wow.
Yes. And we're selling there's 30,000 real estate agents. 92% of them are not professional, but there's 8% of us are actually professional. But, imagine every agent of those 30,000 that are selling property, they probably have at least, 200 or 300 clients.
At least.
And then those 200 or 300 have friends. And by the way, the 30,000 agents are in Dubai. What about the agents in Africa? What about the agents in Europe? What about the agents in the US? So do you see how quickly these 400 is nothing? It goes in seconds.
Oh my goodness. So very different reality. But I love that what you buy is a deeded title.
Yes.
And then how can you give us an idea of like condo fees? Because for the most part, I think investors would invest in probably some sort of apartment, at least to start out.
Yeah, sure.
We're used to condo fees in Canada and in the US. And some of them tend to be quite high with pools and gyms. Like some of them are higher than the mortgage itself. So what do those fees look like?
So basically, we call them service charges. So, if you're ever having the chat with me, then I would be saying what your service charges are. And of course, in an apartment building, you might have much higher service charges than you would in a townhouse or a villa, because there's pretty much nothing to look after. So service charges range. Usually you get a price quoted. Say, for example, I would say the service charge is 15 dirham per square foot. Okay. So 15 dirham divide by 3.7, you're looking at what, $4 per square foot? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, really about that.
So, and then basically, then we look at the square footage of the property you're purchasing. And then that is your service charge for the year. And then usually what happens is that you get that broken down and you pay every quarter.
Okay. Oh, that's for the year. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that would be
calculate that's like monthly and
No. So they'll charge you. Now, what more and more projects are doing now is, firstly, if you're buying an off-plan project, it's quite normal that you actually, when you're signing, you don't know the service charges yet, because how can they know the costs in 3 years? They don't know it yet themselves. So, that is also why you work with, a real estate agent like me, because I work with reputable developers. I don't work with all the developers, and there will be projects that even your viewers have heard of in Dubai. And the more marketing that you hear from projects, I'm not going to mention names. I'm sure there's a couple that people have already heard of.
The worse it is, probably.
Yeah. Exactly, Francois, you said it. The more you see something in your face going crazy in advertising, it's in airports here, it's throughout every single real estate agent in the world. I've seen agents in France advertising projects here, and I'm like, if only they knew, they shouldn't sell it, and I'm not mentioning names. But so, that's why you want to work with someone on the ground who knows the reputation, because, some of these developers, what they can do is they can charge you any service charge once you've got handover, and there's nothing you can do.
No,
Nothing.
that's it. Then you're stuck. So
Yeah.
that's the scary part, especially for a foreigner and if you're
Yeah.
investing at a
So you
distance.
want to make sure that you're, with a reputable company, and that there's going to be, good, they're going to look after your property. And what happens is the developer legally has to appoint an owners association, and the
Yeah.
owners association is separate from the developer. That's a newish law, so it didn't used to be
Oh,
like
you
that.
didn't have that? Okay.
No, I mean, because remember, we're a young market. We're
Yeah, that's
only
it.
20 years old. So we're just starting to get to maturity. So, we have our cycles, 7 years up and down, but, we're just learning the ropes now. So the other thing, again, that I do mention to my clients is I never sell property that's really more than about 5 years old, because, properties 15 years ago and 10 years ago that were built here were built under very different, like, shall we say, frameworks.
Standards. Yeah.
Yeah, standards were a little bit different to what they are today. And, technology is advanced, and, we have smart homes now. So, building materials are better, communities are better. Dubai has learned, it's had a very steep learning curve as to, what mistakes they made and how they've improved. And, the projects and the properties that are launching today are phenomenal. I mean, they're world class. So, that's what I stick to with my clients. I would say the one opportunity, Francois, for older property is, of course, any townhouses that you can
Yeah.
buy and just simply redo because of the location. And of course, villas. I mean, villas on the Palm are 15 years old, but you don't buy it for the house now. You're buying
The
it for the location.
location.
Yeah, you just gut the house and start again. And hence why you hear of these incredible sale prices that we've had recently of 150, 200, 250 million dirham. I mean,
Whoa.
that is literally, what are we talking there? We're talking um 50 million US dollars more.
A little
um
bit above my budget at this time.
yeah. So, but we do have something for all budgets. So, I mean, and I'm not one of these that says I'm only selling over 50 million dirham.
Yeah.
That's not right. That's not. I like to work for my clients, and usually what happens is I have the clients that are savvy investors, and they're building a portfolio. So they do want the studios as well as the one beds, as well as the odd townhouse, and that is a well-rounded, well-balanced portfolio, Francois.
I love it. So thank you so much, Lucy. Wow, time flies. Where
Yeah.
can our listeners get a hold of you and find out more?
Absolutely right. Well, there's many different ways. So I do a lot on social media. That's how you found me, actually, Francois. So
Yeah.
my YouTube channel is probably the best place for people to get familiar with me straight away. Let me see if I can hold up a picture here so people can actually see. So that is my YouTube channel. So it's Lucy J. Parker. Okay. So I have over 250 videos of different communities where I'm live. You can also find me on Instagram. So my Instagram account, I'll just get it up here, is Lucy J. Parker _ So this is, it's playing for, it's working today. So that's my Instagram. It's a pink.lp. Okay.
I love it.
Keeping the brand there. You've got my Facebook, and people usually find the wrong Facebook. My Facebook is actually, it's easy to find because I'm there with Mr. Jay Shetty himself. So it's Lucy J. Parker. And finally, where I actually started my social media journey, because I actually train realtors and investors on how to stand out on social media.
Ooh, we'll have to do more about that.
Yeah. So that it came from LinkedIn. So this is my LinkedIn, and it's Lucy Parker, and I have 44,000 followers. And one of the reasons that I do sell a lot of property is because of my social media. People that have never met me before are actually, they send monies and they purchase upon working with me, Francois. So I've done that many, many times. I'd say half my buyers I've never met in person.
Wow, I love it. Yeah, it's like me with, I'd say half my properties I'd never seen in person. So
Oh, really? Okay. No,
yeah,
I've
I
seen them.
love long distance investing is amazing.
Absolutely.
And I did check flights from Montreal, which is not too far from me, to Dubai. It's actually not that bad. So right now it's cheaper to fly to Dubai
Yeah,
than to fly to
yeah.
Costa Rica during low season. So like,
Ah,
well, maybe I should go and visit
yeah.
you.
Definitely. What I will say to your viewers and listeners is that Dubai is really, really busy and much more expensive. That sort of like 3 month peak between mid-December to mid-March. I mean,
That's the high
prices,
season.
prices, flights, hotel rooms, everything is full, everything's booked up. So if you're coming in those 3 months, then book from now and get your short-term rentals done from now. Get all of your, restaurants booked. I'm not
Oh
joking.
wow.
And actually, Francois, I want to share something with all your viewers. It's something really amazing everybody should tick off when they come here. It's called the Aura Sky Lounge, and it's amazing. I'm going
It
to spell
sounds
it.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to spell it for you. Aura, Aura Sky Lounge. And it is a tower in the middle of the Palm Jumeirah. It's got a 360-degree infinity swimming pool looking out
Oh.
the whole of the Palm. And you can drink your cocktail, walk around with lovely music at sunset. And trust me, my best friend has just tried to book it for November. It is fully booked every day.
It's over.
So seriously, if you're coming to Dubai, you want to book Aura before your hotel and your flight.
Wow. Okay. Or know
Yeah.
some VIP people, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, because there's only 150 sunbeds and they will, they have to sell it strictly to the capacity up there because you can't have too many people up there. But it's amazing views at world class, better than Marina Bay Sands in Singapore.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we'll have to check that out for sure. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Lucy. And we'll be
Not at
chatting a
all.
lot more. I think we'll have to do more on social media and various projects that you may have in the
Yes,
future if you're interested. So it's been a
absolutely.
pleasure. And
Yeah.
yeah, let's stay in touch.
Yeah, Francois, I forgot to just share my WhatsApp number. Should I
Oh,
share it in a chat, in a comment, or do you want to put it underneath here? Or
share it now verbally because most people are
okay,
listening in
yeah.
audio. So
Okay, so if you want to get a pen and paper, it is +971 or 00971 5857 11070, and we all use WhatsApp here in Dubai. So if you WhatsApp me, say that you've heard me on Francois' wine and real estate session, because then I'll know where you've come from, and then we can chat for sure. And je parle français, so si vous voulez parler en français, en ce qui concerne l'immobilier à Dubaï, je suis.
merveilleux. And español también?
Hablo español, entonces si estáis escuchando este programa con François y yo y queréis hablar en español, podríamos hablar en español sin problema también.
Muy bien. Y do you speak Arabic? Shukran, that's
أتكلم
about all I know.
أتكلم شوي شوي عربي. Not much.
Wow. Okay, you beat me. Well, on that note, we'll have to catch up and learn about your next language and next project. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Okay. And Francois, can we just, sorry, this is because this is what I do on social media. Can we have a smile? We need one
Oh,
photo.
yes, that's right. Please.
There you go. Brilliant. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
Speak to you
you.
soon.
Cheers.
Bye.
Hey there, listeners. We hope you enjoyed this latest episode of the Wine and Real Estate Podcast.
Yes, absolutely. You can find us on Instagram. Our handle is wine_and_real estate. So wine and real estate. On Facebook, FL Homes Corp. And you can also find us on our YouTube channel.
Yes, and please make sure to give us a rating, 5 stars, or any comments. We'd love to hear from you. And we love suggestions as well. Cheers.
Yeah, chin chin.